All right. So we are live here on YouTube, and I have two guests for the show. I'm going to go ahead and get my, or we did have two guests. So, anyway, I hope everyone who is going to watch this will stick it out. It's going to be a great episode. I just lost both of my guests. It looks like, unless Puna, are you there?
Yes, and you still got me on audio.
Okay, all right, got you. That's good. That's good. We're gonna work this out. And it looks like we got EC Kamaka from the Pacific Savages. Can you hear us, Kamaka?
I can.
All
How's it
right.
going?
Okay. I don't know what happened there, but Puna, you're able to hear us as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get this party started. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Seven Generation Podcast. This is your host, Dr. B, and we got a good one for you today. We have two special guests, Kamaka from the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club and Puna from the nonprofit Building Aloha. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Pacific Sovereignty Run and its significance. Thank you both for joining the show. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to talk a little bit about this very important event that we have coming up. Welcome.
Aloha.
How we doing, Puna? How we doing, Kamaka? Well, looks like we just lost Kamaka, but Puna, how we doing?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited about this episode and, of course, the Pacific Sovereignty Run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really glad that, we have you on the phone right now, and we're experiencing a few technical difficulties. Looks like we have Kamaka back. Can you hear us, EC? All right. All right. Well,
Yep.
Let's go ahead and kick this off here. So the Pacific Sovereignty Run, Kamaka, is a very important event. It's upcoming. Why don't you tell us a little bit first about your background, how you got involved in the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club, what inspired you to join the Pacific Savages, and also what your journey's been like so far?
Well, the Pacific Savages was founded in '07. I'm part of that original group that got it kicked off, and it was really inspired just to kind of bring our islanders home, give them something to belong to, because we noticed a lot of islanders, within the different island set or different motorcycle sets. Um, and they really had no home to go to. So that was really the basis on why we started the Pacific Savages, was to give something for our own people to gravitate to, and from there it just flourished. And we learned along the way, the MC protocols. Had big events, 32, 34 clubs in attendance at our big luau's that we used to have in Contra Costa County. And we were really in touch with our community. And I'm talking about all polys and poly alike. And when I say poly alike, I mean people with aloha in their hearts, or like-minded people. Because when you grow up in the island, it's a different mindset. It's very relaxed, but very open-hearted. And that's what I mean by aloha. Over the years, we've kind of lost that connection. Kind of went into our turtle shells for a little while, and just kind of did our own thing. And this is our way. The PSR is our way of reaching back out to our community and bringing that back together. Bringing the islanders, or so as we said on Puni's podcast, bringing the coconuts back together, closer to the tree. But this one I think is even a little more special, or if that is correct English, to me anyways, and I think a lot of people resonate with it as well, is because and it's not the first time we've done it, but we're trying to make it bigger and better. But we're also bringing the Native Americans in because historically we have a lot of ties with them as well. Um, really short history. They were the ones that greeted the lands of what we call the U.S. now when we came in our canoes. And we still practice that tradition today. So with that said, we're bringing the Native Americans in of all nations. And this event isn't just for Native Americans or polys. This event is for our community, but open doors to everybody, for everybody to enjoy. The more the merrier. There's going to be plenty of entertainment, plenty of food, plenty of vendors. Thank you, Puna. She's really doing a great job on collecting some high quality vendors, for people's enjoyment. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of the history and how we evolved to this PSR.
Outstanding. Puna, why don't you share a little bit about your background and what led you to Building Aloha, which is a nonprofit. I mean, you could also tell us about some of the key initiatives that you've been involved with through Building Aloha, along with your role with the Pacific Sovereignty Run, the PSR.
Sure. Thank you, Bernard and Kamaka. So I guess I can start off with saying about roughly 4 years ago, I ventured off into a hobby where I was making my own handcrafted jewelry. And that put me out into the space of hula halaus, which is dance schools for Polynesians. And we were doing a lot of pop-up events, and the community always came out very, very strong to support all of the vendors and small businesses. And so that put me in the public view. And about 3 years ago, a member from the Pacific Savagez Motorcycle Club was looking to find an event coordinator to help organize and put this event out, the Pacific Sovereignty Run. Now, I didn't know anything about the motorcycle culture, but I am familiar with Polynesian culture and the welcome and unity and aloha we always try to bring in everything that we do and everywhere that we go and the people that we share time and space with. So that part of it was not new. It was just interesting to see a lot of our brothers that I was not aware of that rode motorcycles. So when I was approached by this member, I definitely wanted to sit down and see what this event would look like and how I could help and be a part of it. And it really was, reaching out to the community for small businesses and vendors to participate and nonprofit organizations, which I was already a huge part of. Due to my father being a veteran. I'd been a volunteer for the American Legion at that point in time for almost 9 years. So my community involvement was there and allowed me to have a network of venues to present for the Pacific Sovereignty Run. And luckily we were able to lock one in February 2022 when we did the first Pacific Sovereignty Run. From that vendor side is where I realized we could go into the nonprofit organization, like for myself, right? Like being a volunteer for the American Legion was fine, but it got to the point with this event specifically that there was more resources and more things that we could do together as far as involving the community in this specific group of people's MC culture.
I like it. So this is not the first PSR that we've had. There's been a few, started back in 2022, and it's continued to grow. Kamaka. Is that correct? And our goal is really to reach out to the community. So maybe EC, you can explain to our listeners what are some of the key objectives of this community outreach, and why is this run that you all have put together starting in 2022 so important? Now we're here in 2024. We're continuing to do this work.
Again, I kind of mentioned it earlier. You know, it was really just to reconnect with our poly community and like-minded people, and just bring them all together, because it's been our last big event was actually in 2014. And then due to certain reasons or certain circumstances, you know, I mentioned also earlier that we kind of retracted into our own turtle shell and just kind of did our own thing in our own little bubble. And we missed and we lost out on all those years of connecting with our own people. So this is our venue, our vessel, to do that, you know, to bring our people back together and unite, and, you know, and just enjoy the day in each other's company. Now the PSR, you're right, this is not our first PSR, but this is going to be the first Pacific Northwest PSR for Washington. And our intentions are to kind of do this in any area or region that we are located in, just to kind of reach out to that community, you know. So we're just doing it one at a time. And yeah, just over the years, just since 21, it's gotten so much bigger. The message that we're trying to spread out is really gravitating to a lot of people. So each PSR that we have just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I have been to all the PSRs except for the one in Las Vegas. I did miss that. It was another event, and I can testify firsthand. These are really wonderful community events, and it's the biker community, along with, of course, the Islander indigenous community coming together, reaching out to the community, sharing the culture, which is pretty interesting considering that, you know, this is a community event, and what makes it pretty unique, and I think both of you would agree, and hopefully get you guys to elaborate a little bit, but we have the motorcycle club community. So how does that work? Kind of connecting motorcycle clubs, poly, indigenous culture, right? How has that worked out?
You know, it's been it's so I say reaching out to our community. And yes, we are a motorcycle club, so obviously that's part of our community. Actually, probably I wouldn't say the main, because it's always with us. It's culture first, right? Culture God Club, with family in there. So everybody that's involved, yes, we did start the PSR. We came up with the idea, but the intention is to have whatever region that we're having this PSR in, is to have the island motorcycle clubs participate, and share the lane that has been created for the poly set with all these other clubs or entities. You know, this is their way of, or our way of sharing their lane, or sharing the lane, and their way of riding in the lane that was created.
Yeah, so this is a way for Islander clubs to come together as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there is a big community of Islander bikers, which is really interesting to me. And there's a lot of Islander clubs, and you know, you're very familiar with the Islander biker set in Hawaii, Kamaka. Maybe you can explain to people who maybe are unfamiliar with motorcycle clubs, or just want to know more about, man, why do you have so many Islanders on two wheels?
You know, that's a good question. Maybe because back home we can only go up and down or around, and that was as far as our borders would allow us to go. You know, there's no bridges between islands, so you know, out here in the mainline, you can just ride, you know, ride until you run out of gas. You know, I don't have a question or an answer for that question, Bernard. It's just something that happens. I don't know, man. But there is a lot of inspiration too from, just seeing another islander on a bike. I think that was probably the biggest inspiration for probably a lot of us that are on tubes.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think
some
that's
of us
something
were
that's,
on tubes, some of us didn't.
yeah, it's something that surprised me over the years, getting to know the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club. It's just how many islanders, polys are really into the biker culture and love to ride cruisers and Harleys, really all motorcycles. Yeah. And Puna, I'm really curious, how has it been working with the motorcycle club community? Can you tell us a little bit as an outsider working with the biker community, also coming from a culture perspective and kind of bridging these two communities together? What has that been like?
Very, very interesting. Challenging at some points for my lack of knowledge. But ultimately a beautiful experience. I've often said that working with you guys has given me some personal growth, in the sense of where I am culturally. Before I started working with the Pacific Savages on this event, I had no desire to learn Olelo Hawaii, which is our language. Even though I had been around our culture as a transplant amongst other transplants, I didn't really feel the mana like we were supposed to feel when we're around each other in celebration or, just sharing the same space, whatever it is, until I started working with the Pacific Savages. This event specifically is a passion project for me now. And, there's a good side to having a passion project, which means I just love the work. I don't think about the personal benefits for myself. I see how an event like this can change people's hearts and minds like it did for me. It brought me closer to my people and wanting to learn more about my culture. And that was simply just seeing how the club is with each other, through the ha, through the haka, through the ava ceremony, the kava ceremony, through their community involvement. I mean, it isn't fair to say that this event is the first time that the club has been involved with the community. It's absolutely not, right? We all, the three of us here, we know that. We know that the club has been involved in emergency relief drives for Hawaii, for Samoa, for Tonga. Kamaka himself has been a part of a huge cultural practice in the Hawaiian culture with Hokulea, with the ancient sea voyagers. And just all kinds of things. I think the beautiful thing that the Pacific Sovereignty Run event does is it just gives more of a public view to what your club, to what the Pacific Savages and other island clubs have been doing, for a very long time in the community. I think it just puts a little spotlight on that and say, hey guys, we're here. Yes, we love to ride. Yes, we love to live the biker lifestyle, so to speak. Not like the movies, but the incorporation of the culture in the club is a beautiful thing. And I've had so many vendors tell me, like, oh my God, there's so many island riders, and they're all very respectful. They're all very helpful. They're all, smiling and happy to be doing what they're doing at the events. And again, Dr. B. It's been a beautiful thing for me to be a part of.
Man, I really appreciate you sharing that perspective. And just real
Yeah, of
quick,
course.
can you tell us exactly location? So this is going to be taking place when and where?
So this is going to be taking place on October 24th of this year, 2024.
August.
Yes,
Right.
I'm sorry.
August 24th.
August 24th of this year at the American Legion Memorial Hall, Post 15 in Kent, Washington. The address is 25405 97th Place South, again in Kent, Washington. And the time frame is going to be from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Outstanding. So, Kamaka, we're going to swing back to you. What challenges have y'all faced in organizing the PSR, and how have you overcome those challenges? Puna, feel free to add anything you would like to add as well. Go ahead, Kamaka.
I think the biggest challenge was getting the other clubs to understand what this PSR meant to us, and selling that idea to them and getting them to gravitate to it and actually participate in it. Because it really isn't a specific sovereignty run / unity event if you don't have the other island MCs or riding clubs, participate in and believe in this movement. I mean, it's unity is a beautiful thing. We've all in some form of our life, we've all been repressed. And I use that historically. Our island was taken. You know, um, so what do we have to live for today? It's your belief in the way you live, and that's all we have. So any culture, especially ours now, is a practice culture. And you of Native American descent can appreciate that as well. I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, the
just
culture
straight
component.
repression.
I don't want to take too much away from both of you, and your perspectives on this, but from me, just looking at what you both have done, along with so many others, obviously, who have put in a tremendous amount of work. All the other clubs, the community that has just come together to put these events together. It's outstanding to see, and it's a demonstration of the best of what we have to offer in terms of our culture and terms of the love and the compassion that we have for our communities. And I see that with Building Aloha, the nonprofit has done so much to help out so many different communities, and of course with Pacific Savages in their community outreach. We're a motorcycle club. I'm a member of the Pacific Savages, but the way that we reach out to the community, the way that we're involved in the community, that along with the work of Building Aloha is really something special, something to be proud of. And I love what y'all are doing here with the PSR and the community outreach and giving back. Because, as a motorcycle club, Kamaka, and I know you could speak to this. This is not something that we have to do. We could just focus on ourselves and our own organization, but a big part of the culture movement, as we say, is to reach out to our community, to make our community stronger, create more solidarity, and bringing different clubs together and putting aside maybe differences that we might have is really only making us stronger. And I see that with the PSR, with the Pacific Sovereignty Run. And Puna, I would like to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, of course. It actually made me think of something beautiful that I recently heard when I was watching a reel of a run that they had done in the Pacific Northwest, Toa tribe with the Pacific Savages. They had gotten together with Section 8 there in Washington, and Mahinta and Koapuna, and they had done a ride out to Mount Rainier and had a little pulley out there. Well, the video, it has a voiceover of the HC at the time, whose name is Tavita, who is also a part of, this Pacific Sovereignty Run planning. And what he said at the end of the video was so powerful to me. And it was basically him like shouting over a crowd, and he says, "Don't look at the patch, look around you." Right? So for me, being an outsider, a civilian, somebody from the community, if you will, when I hear something like that, that means everyone, and that is what we're about. That is what we're trying to do. We're trying to include everyone. So I thought that was a very powerful message. And I don't know, I was told from day one, when I understood that the Pacific Sovereignty Run was a way to say, hey, we're here. We carved out this lane. Please join us in sharing it. We're going to do it our way, with good grace, right, Kamaka? You taught me that one the other day. And culture. So yeah, I was sold on the vision. I think the biggest challenge that I have had with this event is protecting it. The more and more we do this event, the more and more other people become a part of it. Some people get it, some people don't. Some people see the vision, but they don't know how to see it through fruition. And I think the one thing that I want the community and the MC culture to understand is we can all bring something of value to this. But again, the biggest challenge being protecting it, like anything else, like freedom, right? It's the most frail thing that anybody can really think of, that can just go away if you don't protect it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Puna, what are some of the events, major activities that we can look forward to for this upcoming PSR?
Sorry, Dr. B, is that one for me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so well, like Kamaka already touched on, it's going to be unique in the sense that it's a blended event with our Native American brothers. So what we have asked for through the resources and connections of one of the brothers with Savagez MC, Whisper, is for him to seek out the regional tribe for permission to host the event on their land there in Kent, Washington. And he has connected with the Muckleshoot Canoe family, and they have agreed to do our welcome blessing. And then from the welcome blessing, it'll go into the Ava/Kava ceremony. And then we'll open it up for the festivities for the vendors. But we will have live performances from the Polynesian side in the form of dance, and from the Native American side in the form of drummers and a traditional hoop dancer. Yeah, so that's just some of the highlights. But yeah, I'm really excited for the welcome and the kava ceremony, to see what that procession looks like, right, one after the other. Because I think as an indigenous people, it's important to understand that a welcome is not permission to possess. Yeah. And I think Polynesian people understand that more so than some other cultures might.
Yeah, absolutely. So long term, how do you both see Pacific Savagez MC, Building Aloha? I'll kind of start with Kamaka. So Pacific Savagez Motorcycle Club, what's the long-term vision and goal? And then we'll go to Puna with Building Aloha. But both of you can answer Building Aloha? Because I know, Kamaka, you're also a part of Building Aloha as well.
Correct.
Start with Kamaka.
So for us, with Pacific educational process, who we are, or from our who we are as islanders, and then our message with unity and camaraderie, is really one of the bigger messages with the PSR as well. You bring people together. Obviously, you want to make it an enjoyous event. So, as far as what I see with the PSR, with the nonprofit organization as well as the motorcycle club side, man, it's kind of unstoppable. When you got people, when you're working like with Puna, who is just a workhorse. She's a workhorse. She's doing a lot of different tasks, and she multitasks very well. And there's other individuals in different areas that are learning that, learning how to put on an event and how to communicate with vendors or podcasts, or just whatever it takes to put on a good event. So their network is really expanding, just based off of being involved and putting in the effort and helping. It's the best way to learn. But I foresee this eventually. We're gonna land with a PSR wherever we have a tribe. Now that could be any one of the three entities, because we got the Pacific Savages, we got the Savages, and then we got the Island Savages Car Club. As we grow, we'll have a PSR eventually in that area as well, no matter where they might be. With the same intention of unifying our people and bringing us together, and getting to learn each other, really, getting to know each other, networking.
I love it. I love it. Puna, you want to add something to that?
Dr. B, I got to be honest with you. I'm having a hard time picking up Kamaka's audio.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me just repeat the question here. So, long-term vision for Building Aloha, some of the things that you would like to continue to do in the community, along with also how you see the PSR evolving in the future.
Okay, I gotcha. So Building Aloha right now is still in the baby stages, right? But one of the things that we can definitely be proud of is during the wildfires in Maui, Building Aloha was able to sponsor volunteers to go there and lend a helping hand. That's definitely an initiative that is very near and dear to my heart. So for Building Aloha, I would like to see an emergency relief disaster plan fund, if you will, always be available for that specific purpose, for being able to sponsor volunteers to go and physically help. Because you can only throw so much money at a situation that at some point in time you have to physically be there, boots on the ground, help people get the resources that they need, that kind of thing. And also, I like what we have been doing as far as building communities through the events that Building Aloha is a part of. So the community outreach side of it, making sure that the local need in whatever city, wherever the tribes are, that we know what that is, whether it's homelessness or mental health or domestic violence, or whatever it is, for whatever region we do events in. A part of our initiative as Building Aloha is building communities. So what is the community already doing? How can we set a focus on their mission at the events that we come to them to do? Other than that, I know there has been talk right now, the beginning conversations of having an initiative for domestic violence victims. I think that's something that Kamaka mentioned he definitely needs to head up. So yeah, that's just some key things that I can think of right now. An emergency disaster relief fund, a domestic violence initiative, and our community outreach through our in-person live events.
Anything you want to add to that, Kamaka, regarding Building Aloha?
Yeah, so as Puna mentioned, Building Aloha is truly in the baby stage right now. There are a lot of business avenues or paths that we are looking at. And we're actually taking steps to move forward. And a lot of it is really kind of centered or focused on community outreach and resources. And that, we're not tying that to any specific nation, race, creed. If you're human and you need help, that we want to be that resource. Obviously, we're going to hit heavy with our people because we connect with our people and we know the issues that we have internally, with our surrounding community. But that is something that I foresee in our not extreme near, but in our near future.
Outstanding. So, Puna, how can our listeners get involved and support the PSR and your respective organization, Building Aloha?
So right now, the easiest way to do that is to follow us online. We do have an Instagram page and a Facebook page at Building Aloha is the handle. That way you can keep up with the events that we're doing. We are working on our website right now. We do have a domain. It is buildingaloha.org. That should be up and running here very, very soon. But for all events involving Building Aloha, really just follow the Pacific Savagez.
Yeah.
There's not a tribe out there that won't have a Building Aloha logo on events that they're doing.
Yeah. So Pacific Savagez can be found on Instagram, TikTok, and also IG. Definitely follow the Pacific Savagez Motorcycle Club. Also follow Savages Motorcycle Club as well. And the Island Savages. Kamaka, just real quickly, can you please explain Island Savages, a new part of the organization that just kicked off recently, and it might be unfamiliar to some of the people who maybe know a little bit about Pacific Savagez, but have seen this new organization pop up. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Island Savages was really formed off of members that we already had, because these guys if you ever been to some of these car shows and you've seen these guys' cars, Island Savages, I mean, they're going around sweeping first, second, third place in every category that they enter, and they're really turning heads because we came into the scene a little bit different. As a new car club, there's a lot of envy. There's a lot of surprise, I guess you can say, with the other clubs, because they've been there for years, and all of a sudden we're getting the premium spots because we just took first place at the last show, so they give us a premium spot. But again, a lot of or most of the Island Savages car club are active members, or were active members with the Pacific Savages, and just got some badass cars, and again, community outreach is, that's a whole new community, that's a whole new network that we were already involved in. We just didn't have it organized, and now that we're organized, we're getting a lot of attention, a lot of questions, on how do I join. I have a 2004 Fiat. Can I join your club? Yeah. You know, but yeah, it's just another vein, if you will, or another root off the tree that started with the Pacific Savagez. You know, and it's really just another part of our community.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see the organization expand, not just with the nonprofit Building Aloha, but with this new entity, Island Savages. And we have a lot of brothers, a lot of family members in our communities who love classic cars. They love to rebuild them, love that whole process. It's a really amazing lifestyle. And so we've kind of brought that into the fold as well. And the Island Savages are doing incredibly well. They're on Instagram. You can follow them, kind of see where they are going in terms of these car shows, which are quite something. And the motorcycle club culture, I think, kind of fits really well with what the Island Savages are doing. It's just a good fit. It's a good fit, and really proud of what the Island Savages have accomplished in such a short time. Pretty amazing. Yeah,
Very amazing, actually.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, we also have the Pacific Savagez brother club, the Savagez MC. And Puna did mention that the Savagez MC is a big part of this upcoming PSR in Washington, and they're playing a bigger role. We're going to have a mix of Native American and Islander polyculture. I love it. This is something that I guess I've been wanting and dreamed about. Very, very passionate about bringing our communities together, and I'm just super excited. Puna, I just want to say thank you for all your hard work. Obviously, Kamaka, you know, you've been doing this for a lot of years now, a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And very proud of
it's
what
fun
you.
doing it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's fun doing it, especially when you see your vision come alive. You know, because you're doing this for the people, you're doing this for your brothers, your aunties, your nephews, your nieces, and they come to these events and they're just having a blast. You know, they're having a good time. You know, and that's to me, that's what it's about.
Yeah. So, any final words, Kamaka, that you, anything you want to add, anything you want to say, some words of wisdom?
So culturally, and this can be used for pretty much every culture that's out there. One of our own members at the San Diego PSR spoke after I did, and it really stuck with me because it made a lot of sense. You know, the PSR, you know, I keep preaching culture and unity, but the way he put it was that it's important to know who you are as a person and to understand where you come from your, you know, as far as lineage, because society is slowly erasing all of our cultures. And man, I had to turn around and look at him, and you know, there's a reason why we call this guy Professor. You know, he's a very well spoken, and like I said, when he said that, you know, it gave put another light on the PSR for me, you know, on why we even have these. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he summarized it perfectly. And then one other thing, the connection with the Native Americans and the coconuts. I was sitting with an OG in San Carlos at the Apache Res, and he was very happy that Pacific Savages and Savages were there in presence for it was the Run to the Res event. And the way he put it was where the land people connect with the water people. And, you know, and another member of ours kind of looked at each other and was like, wow, what a great way to say it. You know what I mean? You know, just captured everything right there. So that kind of stuck with a lot of us.
Yeah. I was there at that,
Yeah, in that conversation.
that conversation, and it has stuck with me ever since. And, you know, connecting the people of the ocean with the people of the land. And that's what we're doing with the Pacific Sovereignty Run. And I really hope if you're in the Washington area, definitely got to come check it out. There's going to be a ton of vendors, going to be a lot of activities, a lot of culture, a lot of fun. Puna, I'd like to give you an opportunity to share anything that you would like to share with our listeners.
Yes, of course. First, thank you so much, Dr. B, for allowing us to use your platform to help promote this event and give people an understanding and some context of what this is. Mahalo nui for that. So the organizing clubs of this event is, of course, spearheaded by the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club. And then we also have the Brother Club, Savagez MC. And then we go to Manhita, which is a Chamorro riding group organization. And then we have Section 8 Motorcycle Club of Washington and Koapuna of Washington. These are the organizing clubs. You'll see them on the main official flyers and on the event t-shirts. And Building Aloha's community outreach efforts is going to showcase the Pacific Islander Community Association, which we'll be doing a food drive for, and they are welcoming perishable goods. So fruits and vegetables are welcome to bring. We'll also be hosting the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People of Washington.
Oh, it looks like we lost Puna there, unfortunately. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of finish up what she was saying, is that there's going to be an organization that is focused on the MMIW issue, something that I'm very familiar with. And it's an issue it's very important to indigenous communities across Turtle Island. And we're going to have an organization out there who will definitely be bringing awareness to that issue. So I'm really excited about that, and just all the different vendors that are coming out, supporting the event, the different cultural presentations that will be available that day are really going to be the best of what we have to offer, culturally speaking. So this is going to be something that y'all won't want to miss. If you're in the Washington area, again, definitely come through. This is August 24th, and you're going to see some amazing motorcycles, a bunch of polys coming together, natives coming together, and of course, the best that our cultures have to offer. So this comes, I think, to the end of our show for today. I just want to say thank you, Kamaka, so much for joining us. Puna, I know we lost you, but hopefully you'll go back and listen to this. And I really do appreciate you as well, both of you sharing your insights. For our listeners who want to know more or just want to keep, themselves posted about what's happening, don't forget to follow Pacific Savagez Motorcycle Club on Facebook. You can follow the TikTok, you can follow the IG. The IG is very active. Facebook's very active. Also, Savagez MC, follow them. Instagram. We have Island Savages and, of course, Building Aloha, all on Instagram and on Facebook. And don't forget, Pacific Sovereignty Run, August 24th. Appreciate you all for tuning in to the 7 Generation Podcast. Remember, support, participate in the PSR 2024 Pacific Northwest. Until next time, this is Dr. B signing off. Later.
Hello, everybody. Hope to see you at the event.
All right, Kamaka, that was pretty good. That was fun. We're still on air. We're still on air right now. So if you want to add a few things before we go, feel free.
No, I'm really excited for this one because the organization that had and the efforts that has gone into this thus far, and we're still a month out, a month plus, has been phenomenal with the other entities that are assisting with putting this event on. So I don't think we've ever had this kind of input from other entities or the level of effort, you know, and that's what I'm basing everything on, is just the organization. I mean, it can only be good.
Yeah, the
There's
roster
no way.
that I see looks
Yeah,
great.
it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, we're touching base on everything down to shuttles from the parking lot, you know, signage, QR codes about the PSR, you know, from the local areas and the businesses and stuff like that. You know, it's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing to see everybody come together.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this event, and you know, the area we're talking about is really beautiful. Uh, you know, I'm from California. It's hot as can be out here right now, and
Yeah,
I can only imagine in August it's going to be pretty hot out here. So it'll be a change of scenery at least for a couple of days. So yeah,
right.
definitely excited for the PSR. I know you guys are meeting, you know, weekly, and you guys are putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort into this one. Yeah, I'm excited, man. And everybody I talk to that is a part of building this community to put this PSR together, man, they seem to be really enthusiastic and excited.
You know, that's that we sell it on culture, and then when you get other people that are putting in all this effort, it kind of excites the other people, and you know, it kind of makes them, you know, want to be a part of it. And when that happens, you know, you create ownership. You
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
when people feel or they have a sense of ownership with this event, they're going to try even harder. You know, so it's again, it's really beautiful to see it come together.
yeah. Well, I know I'm repeating myself, but I appreciate everything that you've done, Kamaka, and I know you're very humble person. You've done so much with not just, you know, with the motorcycle club and building this organization into really something quite incredible, but also the community work that you've done throughout the years and the culture work that you've done. And I'd love to have you back on the show. Maybe we can just talk about that one day. You know, we could sit down and just love to hear your stories about the things that you've done and your travels, and you've been all over, you know, Polynesia, just, you know, spreading the good word and taking care of the culture, you know, been a good caretaker of the culture. And I just want to say I really appreciate that. I personally
Thank you.
have
Appreciate it.
learned a lot from you, and you've just imparted so much wisdom to me really from the get-go, and you've been so welcoming to me into the organization. But not only that, you've just taught me a lot, and I just want to say thank you for that.
No, appreciate it, brother. Love having you aboard.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Later.